All right, Coach. Well, came on such a big win last week. Did that just guys give you a boost of confidence and maybe improve the feeling around the program heading in deeper in the season?
Well, I think so. And then it's again goes back to the way you prepare. I thought we had a good fall camp, knowing that we were going to play a good opponent on the road. It was a great atmosphere, great crowd on the road, and to go out and beat a conference opponent on the road with that atmosphere, takes a lot of work. And so proud of our guys for taking that step, 1-0, and like we're telling our guys, last week is over. It doesn't matter. Now it's about looking in on the next week, making sure we focus in on 1 week at a time. Our guys have been really good about that. So looking forward to the preparation this week against another great opponent. Be excited to come back home, play in front of our crowd, great atmosphere, and looking forward to going out and competing.
And then kind of, playing on week 0, kind of coming in when SMU is opening the season, does that kind of give y'all a competitive edge that you've already played a game?
I think I don't know if it does or not. Honestly, I don't really think about it. I focus in on each opponent that week. Obviously, it's their home opener. They've been preparing for us. They've been getting after it in fall camp like we have. And so at the end of the day, it's next opponent. We got on to them this week, yesterday, and had a really good practice this morning. So again, looking forward to just going out and competing.
That was a pretty physical game out there in El Paso. How did you guys come out of that game health-wise?
For the most part, pretty decent. There's some, obviously, each and every game, it's a physical game. You're going to have some things here and there, but I feel like overall wasn't bad.
And then looking ahead to SMU, facing a pretty big threat in Tanner Mordecai, been on every watch list for every quarterback award. Just how do you prepare for a quarterback like that?
Well deserving. He's a really good football player. Obviously, understands their systems. He's been with that coach. That Rhett's been there in the past, and I know he's played a lot of football. Under a couple different staffs. So he's an experienced guy who's has a lot of talent around him. He has weapons. He does a great job of managing the game, getting the ball to his playmakers. It's again, it's going to be a great challenge for us. We're excited about the challenge and know that we're going to face a good football team. That just gives us the added, focus in on what we got to do this week in preparation in order to have success.
You were short a few wide receivers last week. Are those guys still on course to rejoin the team?
See what happens. It's a whole new week, right? So, again, I feel good where we're at. We were down a couple this past week, but I thought that group was still, we had enough guys to have some depth to where we could rotate some guys and not, stay fresh. And that's the biggest thing. And so, again, our group has a lot of experience in that room. Which is good, which is maybe an advantage from past year. With all the injuries, a lot of guys got a ton of reps and got some experience, and so I feel like we got a great group. So one guy goes down, next guy steps up. You look at defensively, Rich did a great job. When JD went down out there on the perimeter, Rich came in and he was focused, locked in, he was ready to go, he prepared the right way and stepped in and had a really good game. And so that's what you have to do. I mean, in college football, each and every week, there are going to be battles. It's a physical game. Guys go down, next guys have to step up, and you got to overcome it as a team.
You mentioned that, that Ridge played well. Did Fabechi do well when he came in today?
Yeah, Fabechi did a great job against probably one of the more talented group you'll see in our conference. UTEP is a very physical team. They got a great D-line. And he stepped in and did a great job. He graded out really well. Obviously, there's rooms for improvement for every position and himself, but I thought nothing was too big for him. He stepped in, had a great night, and it was awesome to see because I know he's been excited to get in there.
Now that you've gotten into looking at SMU, what's your impression of them as a team? I know you don't have all the information just because they haven't played yet, but your thoughts?
Personnel-wise, very talented team. I mean, obviously you can see that. Defensively, they're very physical up front. They think it always starts up there. I think they do a great job up front and being physical, and last year they did a good job of making it hard for us to run the football. And obviously Offensively, they got a lot of weapons, running backs, receivers. Obviously, Mordecai at quarterback manages the game very well. He can make all the throws. They're very solid, been solid on special teams. I think that's due to their talent. And so new scheme, new system, new coaches. Obviously, guys that have been there. Rhett's been there before. He understands his personnel. They're pretty familiar with him. And so I don't think it'll be that much of a transition, which is the biggest thing. But we'll see. They're going to have some wrinkles. That the one thing we've played against each other, both offensively and defensively. Defensive coordinator having been at Liberty, so we're all familiar with each other in a sense. But again, opening game, you never know the wrinkles people are going to throw out there. So we'll see as we get in there. We're going to have to do a good job of game planning, and then we're going to have to make adjustments throughout the game like any team. So that's what it'll come down to.
You get them at home in the first game with a new coach. You see any parallels with how this game and what happened at 8?
Nothing matters in the past. There's no parallels. I mean, every year's a new year. Every week's a new week, and that's how I look at it. So again, all that matters is this upcoming week and the opponent we're playing. And I know we're going to have a great battle, and I know they're a good football team. And we're going to have to prepare the right way.
And SMU is a pretty big rival of the school, especially to the fan base. Does it kind of raise the intensity just a little bit going into this?
Hopefully each and every week you raise the intensity. That's kind of what you're focused in on throughout the season. You want to get a week better. Obviously, I know the importance of this game to our players, our fans, our coaching staff. It's important to all of us, but they're all important. But yes, obviously it's a team right down the road, a rival, and so it's a big game. They're all big, but yeah, this is a big game. It's important, and we definitely want to prepare the right way and go out and compete and have success.
I'm going to ask you a little bit about Jet Duncan. He was the one new guy you had up front after last season. How did he play in his first?
He played really well. Again, he did his job. Again, it's one of those positions to where, especially with the front we played, it's not an easy task. You're a lot of the times on an island on your own, but he did a great job. He's very competitive. I felt really good about Jet going to this game because he's going to do exactly what he's coached to do. He's very smart. He works extremely hard. He's put a lot of work and effort into this offseason of becoming the player that he wants to be. And he still has, again, we all have a lot of room for improvement, but I thought he was a great start for him.
You had a couple of experienced guys with Jet and then Favechi coming in there. Did the experience around those guys, with some of those guys that have played a ton of football, did that help it?
Well, I think the experience, and then I think the coaching. Coaching matters. I think Coach Clem does a great job with our offensive line. We put a lot on them each and every week, and so those guys understand that, and they understand the way they have to prepare in order to get ready. And so I think it's a combination of both.
You mentioned the importance of the SMU North Texas series to North Texas fans and stuff like that. And this is kind of a time of change in the series. You guys are headed to the American last year. You're going to be in the same conference. The NIL is becoming a bigger part of the landscape. Where do you see the North Texas SMU series heading in the future?
Again, I think it's a rivalry that is a good one. You're right down the road from each other. You battle each other each and every year, not only on the field but off the field. They got a great staff, and again, I know our players and our fans will be excited. And I'm looking forward to, again, the challenge.
Does going into the same conference, being in the same conference?
I don't even think about that right now. All I'm focused in on is SMU this week, and that's really all I'm focused on, to be honest with you. And that's how my mind works. That's what I want our players focused on. It's not about last week. It's not about the week ahead. It's about this week. And SMU is our opponent this week, and that's what we're preparing for. I'll let the fans and everybody else do that stuff. You can't. You start thinking about all that stuff, you're not preparing for the right things.
I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of the transfers you've got in the program here. You've got a lot of guys that have come from smaller schools. Mason came from a smaller school. some of these guys, other guys transferring to D2s and stuff like that. Have you guys made a conscious decision over the course of the last couple of years to maybe look at the possibility of dipping into that talent pool of guys that are coming up for?
It's not about schools, to be honest. It's about players. It's about evaluations. It's what you see on tape. There's a lot of great players out there that no one's even ever heard of at smaller levels that could start in any conference. And there's a lot of great players out there, guys out there that are in the portal that can't play anywhere. So it's about evaluations. It's about looking at, do they fit your program? Do they fit your system? And if that's the case, then you take them. That's what I look at.
Have some of those guys really helped you?
Yeah, absolutely. Again, I think we've done a great job recruiting. Our staff is very diligent. They work extremely hard. And again, the biggest thing is making sure that they fit your culture and fit your system and not worrying about all the other stuff that goes into recruiting. So, I think we have a talented group. We've hit on guys, and hopefully we'll continue to be fortunate enough in the future to continue to do that.
Anything else?
That was awesome.
All right.
Appreciate y'all.
Yeah, well, it seemed like such a great win for you guys last week. How did that impact your guys' team just in terms of the atmosphere and everything going forward to win that game?
It was really good. Going in, we knew it was going to be a really hectic atmosphere, sold-out crowd. But getting the dub, I feel like it gave us confidence going into the remainder of our season. And so it was really good getting a win under our belt.
Coming in from a conference game to now a rivalry game versus SMU, and SMU starting out their season this week. Does that kind of give you all a competitive edge that you already have a conference win under your belt?
For sure, it definitely does. Getting a game in early, it helped us make our mistakes early. As in the game, we had our mistakes early, and so I feel like we're learning from that. And so going to SMU, we can learn from that and hopefully come out much better than we did last week.
Did it kind of give you an edge just to have played, do you think?
I'm sorry.
Will it give you a bit of an edge to have played?
Yes, definitely. Like I said, we learned from our mistakes, and so therefore we're working on that, not making mistakes before the ball is snapped. And so I feel like having a game already played is for our advantage,
What do you guys see in SMU?
They're a really great team, They got a lot of strong guys up front. They have a really great secondary. Honestly, for us to come out victorious, we just got to play our game, minimize penalties and run the ball.
I feel like the offense kind of achieved a pretty good balance last week in passing in their game.
Yeah, definitely. Whenever we run the ball really well, it makes them bring their secondary down, which opens up the back end for us to throw those shots and complete them.
You sense that this is a big game just for rivalry purposes with the fan base and the importance put on it?
Definitely. Since I've been here, it's been a talk, UNT and SMU. Great teams, us and them. It's gonna be a good game. I think it'll be very fun, the atmosphere, and so I'm hoping for a great game all around.
And kind of a new level to this rivalry this year with you guys moving to the American next season. Is this kind of a preview of things to come, do you feel like, or is it you just focusing on this season?
I feel like we're going to take it week by week and focus on this season, but definitely, we always talk about respecting our opponent but never fearing them, so whoever it is, we're going to go out there and play our game.
Anything else?
Yeah. You guys got the running game going really well at UTEP. Did you just, kind of carry over what you did from last season with the way you ran the ball in that game?
Yeah, well, there's never any carryover from last year. We try to start off every year brand new. So coming into UTEP, it was just about trusting our plays, our O-linemen, and just making those routine plays over and over again.
Jet made his first start. You ran behind him. How did you think he did?
I think he played amazing. Was very confident. And Jet having his first start, off fall camp, he's been amazing. And so there's not much to it. Had a lot of trust in all the guys up there.
What did you learn about your team that you didn't know about after this game?
Our team is very resilient, I feel like. We've been through a lot of adversity. That stemmed from last year. Whenever someone goes down, we had people step up. We had JD going down, and Rich stepped up in the game, and it just shows that our team is really resilient, and we're able to overcome adversity very well.
You're one of several guys that are playing on this team that came from a smaller school. You know, some guys transferred in from D2 schools or places like that. Why has it been such a good fit, you think, for you and other guys that have come here and thrived after moving up from a smaller school?
I feel UNT gives the opportunity for everyone to play. You know, it's there's no agenda. You know, it's all about finding the right fit. And so, if you come in and you work, you'll end up finding yourself on the field. And I feel that's what I did. And so, that's where I got to where I am today.
Are there just a lot of guys at those smaller, at the lower levels of college football were maybe overlooked that can move up and fit in at a place like this, like you did?
I believe so. You know, it's all about time and chance and opportunity. I feel like, honestly, it just worked out that I ended up at North Texas, to be honest with you.
You guys all kind of have a chip on your shoulder, you know?
Definitely. I feel like everyone should have a chip on their shoulder. But for me personally, coming in, you know, not being highly recruited out of high school, being more of a smaller back, I always carry that with me, you know. And so that's what I go into games with that mentality.
You kind of share a bond with the rest of those guys that went through the same process, like Ridge and some other guys, Mason, guys that have moved up like that.
Yeah, definitely. Me and Mason are actually locker roommates. Locker buddies. But yeah, we do all share that chip, you know, just coming in and just keeping our head down, knowing like we've seen other guys in the past do that before, and so we just want to get that chance to do the same thing.
You know, NIL has become a big story throughout the offseason. You know, in SMU, I think their collective is paying like $36,000 per player. What was just your thought when you saw that was coming down at a school you play every year?
Congrats to them.
All right, thanks, man.
Yeah.
Thanks, Io.
Austin, it seemed like such a big win last week. How did that just kind of change the feeling around this place heading into the SMU game?
Yeah, it's a good momentum for us, good start for us. Always want to, you know, each week we try to go 1-0, and you know, obviously on the road, conference game, that's a big one for us. So extremely excited about that, but got to move on to the next opponent and you know, work towards that 1-0 goal this week.
Did that first start to a season kind of go exactly how you wanted it to?
Yeah, I mean, obviously getting the W was all I cared about. I think, you know, watching tape, there's still a lot of things I can work on, which is great. And so, you know, I got into the film room, made some corrections, and, you know, working on those during this week's practice.
When you get to SMU this week, what do you guys see in SMU as you start studying them to prepare for this game?
Yeah, so they got the defensive coordinator from Liberty. So, you know, watching their schemes, but also watching SMU, you know, their players from last year as well. So they got a lot of talented players, you know, in a good scheme. So we're going to have to execute at an extremely high level, focus on our details in practice, and ultimately execute during game day.
Feel like you had a good balance offensively against UTEP?
Yeah, I think we ran the ball good. I think we hit our shots when we needed to. Like I said, we can clean some things up and be better on both run and pass. So that's always a positive. But just, you know, lock it into the details and execute.
Big rivalry game for you guys?
Yeah, it's the team across the street. And so, you know, each week is you know, like I said earlier, it's 1-0. No matter who it is across the field from us, we got our game plan. You know, we worked hard, you know, each and every week throughout the days, and just have to execute one play at a time.
Do you just sense that this is a game that your fan base and people that support you take a particular interest in?
Yeah, I think so, just because, you know, obviously Denton and Dallas are so close, so there's a big rivalry between fans. And so it's a great game. It should be a great atmosphere, and we're definitely excited for it.
I feel like this is a chance to kind of prove something to the fan base.
You know, just, you know, we're a good team, and we can come out and execute what our coaches are coaching us to do. You know, like I said, you know, no matter who's across the field from us, we want to execute and ultimately, you know, score more points than they do.
Get to see Trey again.
Yeah.
Is that going to be kind of I mean, that was kind of a thing last year, but is that something you still think about, you know, that Trey was here and played with you?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's good to see him after the game, but, you know, we don't worry too much about, you know, who's, you know, we worry obviously about who's across the field, but, you know, having him over there, there's a couple other guys that, you know, might have played with in high school or something. So, you know, we're familiar with a little bit of their guys, and, you know, we're just wanting to go 1-0 this week.
You were around for that 2018 game when you know, you guys beat them here at home.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that game?
Remember, I was ineligible. We came in here, you just had a great game and executed. Ultimately, we ended up beating them, and we hadn't since. So, we just got to lock into our details and make sure we're ready to play a really good team who's going to come in here and definitely be ready to play.
So obviously, if SMU is opening against y'all while you've already have a conference win under your belt. Do you feel like you kind of have a competitive edge there that you're in your second game of the season while SMU is starting?
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it both ways. We've got a game under our belt. We've, can kind of look back and look on film and see corrections, and now they have a game that they can watch against us. So it's a balance between both. So I think it's great when we're 1-0 and they're looking to come in and come 1-0. So we just gotta execute, fix our mistakes from last game, and keep rolling.
Jet got his first start this last week. The one addition to your guys' line from last year. How did he play?
Yeah, I think Jet did a great job, and Daisy went down and Fabechi stepped up too. So obviously we're next man up mentality. I think the offensive line did a great job, and kept me very well protected. Did a great job in the run game, great job blocking, and we'll continue to do that.
The landscape of college football is kind of changing here. You guys are going to go into the same conference with SMU. NIL is becoming a big thing going forward. I know this is your last year, but do you see a possibility for North Texas to be even more competitive with SMU in the future, being in the same league?
Yeah, I think joining a bigger conference is great for the school. It's gonna hopefully bring in more recruits, and we're looking to go 1-0, and they'll worry about the new league next year when I'm long gone.
Yeah, the NIL thing was big at this last year, and SMU came out with a pretty big collective that said they're paying $36,000 per player. What was your thought when you saw that number come out?
It's good for them. That's awesome. So we're looking to win more ball games and get more fans, and just keep winning games, and that'll come to us too. But good for them on that, and we'll just keep rolling.
How much of a difference does it make playing a rivalry game at home rather than in Dallas or?
Yeah, I think home field advantage is always nice. Obviously, first game for us to play in front of our fans, so we want to make a good showing for them. They'll come out and be loud and be ready, and so it's always a good start to the year.
Does this being your last rivalry game just add anything to the grandeur of it?
Yeah, I mean, not necessarily. I'm looking just to go out and get a win each week. Rivalry or not, my goal is winning the game at the end of the day. Whether I'm throwing for 300 or 400 yards or if I'm just handing the ball off the whole time, it doesn't matter to me.
What would it mean to win this game for you and for the program, you think?
Yeah, I think it's big. Obviously, we want to go 1-0 this week, and beating a great team like SMU can get the momentum continuing into our season, and could lead to big things. But we'll take it day by day, and go back and watch this practice, get on to Wednesday's practice, and keep rolling from there.